Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live chat of Monkey Goes West. I hope this finds all of you in good health and in good spirits, and that you're all keeping well in this kind of crazy time for all of us. As of now, I think that we have more than 70,000 people who have actually watched Monkey Goes West. We're actually beginning this live stream on time, and I am wondering whether or not I should wait a little while before I actually begin this, because we are going bang on time with 59 viewers. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching Monkey Goes West. It's part of the Wild Rice Wild at Home series. Want to say thank you all for tuning in and for getting together. It's been truly amazing to see families and friends from all over the world watching this thing. I never thought that we would actually stream any of our shows because it's just not the same. But I think that when the circuit breaker hit, we decided that we would begin to try and do our part to entertain you at home, and also to try and, hopefully bring some joy into this very, very strange time, alleviate the anxiety and the boredom of these anxious days. Good evening. I see Sean here. I see Ting Ting. I see Tim Tom. I see Winnie Shannon Chia. I see Pei Chin. Hello, everybody. Now, I am going to bring in our first guest. As you all know, Monkey Goes West is our, for those of you who are Wild Rice fans, you know that every year we do a Wild Rice pantomime. Monkey Goes West was our 13th show, okay? And it was also an original pantomime. We started with Cinderella in 2003. It's become a Singapore tradition. And I'm going to go live now with Alfian Sa'at, the playwright who wrote the book and the lyrics of Monkey Goes West. Alfian, are you there? Welcome to our chat.
Hello,
Alfian.
Hi, Ivan.
How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Yes. How wonderful to see you. How have you been keeping in these COVID times, in these circuit breaker times?
Yeah, I think managing, coping as best as we all can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monkey Goes West. Thank you for the gift of Monkey Goes West. I'm going to bring up our PowerPoint so we can launch straight into thinking and talking about this wonderful show, which you wrote the books and the lyrics for. So, Monkey Goes West opened in 2014. That was the first production, and the show that audiences are watching is the 2016 production, which is the production that opened at the Victoria Theatre, which was newly refurbished at the time.
Right.
Let's go to the next next slide.
Yes.
So, before Monkey Goes West, you, a playwright who had never written a musical before in your life, wrote Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Beauty and the Beast, and Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
You have quite a record for writing 5 of these. Mama Whitesnake was one of them, but
that's right.
I think when it came to the next panto, which was going to happen in so you wrote Snow White in 2008, Beauty and Beast in 2009.
That's right.
And Hansel and Gretel in 2012.
Yes.
Right? And all these were based on the Western
fairy tales.
Canon, Western fairy tales.
Yeah.
And by the time we came to 2014 or 2013, because it takes about 18 months to create one piece like that. What was it? What made you think of Monkey Goes West?
So I think, as you mentioned, mostly you've been looking at Western fairy tales, and they're like the Brothers Grimm, Hans Christian Andersen, right? So this is because the tradition is a British pantomime. So the pantomime has come to us from Britain, and we sort of adapted and localized it for Singaporean context. So I think later on, it's you approached Sebastian Tan,
I
who's the
did.
director of Monkey Wheels West, right?
I did. Because by that time, because by that time, Sebastian had acted in no less than 4 pantomimes.
Right, yes.
And I said, it's time for you to direct something.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we can go back to the slide just now, we can see Sebastian in his various incarnations. In Snow White, you can see that he's actually played the wicked stepmother.
Yep.
Yeah. And in Hansel and Gretel, also he plays the witch character who lives inside the gingerbread house, right? So I think it was a kind of graduation for him from being an actor to a director, and he's there in a Jack and the Beansprout as well. So he's been in so many pantomimes as both genders.
Yes. Very versatile.
Extremely versatile.
Right.
So
Sebastian will join us.
Sure, yeah. So you approached him and you asked whether he's got any ideas, and he was the one who came up with this idea of doing a pantomime based on Journey to the West. Yeah, so let's see the next slide. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, this of course has to do with a lot of our folklore that actually is present from closer to home, right?
Yeah.
We have the Ramayana. We have Monkey Goes West at the top in terms of finger puppets. Then we have Sang Kang Chil.
Yeah, so there's some Malay animal fables.
Yes, and the last one is from the Pancha Tantra.
That's right, yes. The story of a tortoise that wanted to fly. Yeah. So this is all in our neighborhood, right? So this is how rich, I think, Asian animal fables and folk tales are. And I think for a long time, situated in Singapore and Southeast Asia, I was just wondering, why don't we tap on these resources that are so much part of our own culture? Yeah.
Yes. And I think many of our audience members and many of our listeners and people tuning in would like to know, how does someone like this, someone like you, come to write this musical, which is so, in a sense, so Chinese, right? Such a beloved Chinese tale, a classic, that is also so imbued with, many ideas of, it's full of values and lessons, the precious lessons of Monkey, but also quite Buddhist in many ways. And I would volunteer that Alfian starts off by doing a couple of things. He starts by doing extensive research. Yes.
So
and
I
these
really
are some of the
wanted
things you shared.
Yeah, I really wanted to give respect to the story, right? Because it's obviously a story that means a lot to many people. It's such a beloved classic. So next slide. So I always try to look for the texts for this Journey to the West. And one of the most popular ones is this thing called Monkey. Is an Arthur Wayland translation from the book Journey to the West by Wu Cheng-en. So this was published in 1941, and it's abridged, because as you would know, it's a very long story. So Arthur Wayland has picked out some of his favorites and translated. So this is the version that is most popular to Western audiences. Yeah, so Western readership know Journey to the West through this book. Yeah,
I actually read this version when I was in London. When I was in London, and of course, my theatre company in London was known as the Tripitaka Theatre Company.
Right. Yeah. You also went when you were in London.
Well, I became more Chinese than I ever was.
I see.
It happened.
Okay, let's
go to the next slide.
Yeah. So I would say, so the Arthur Wayland is like the popular translation of it. But if you want to really go in depth, in detail, this is a good translation, which translates the entire text. And that's why it's in 4 volumes. All the stories are there preserved. And whether they're written in prose or poetry, the translator has tried his best to follow that. So if it's a poem, he'll translate it as a poem in English, for example. So highly recommended for people who really want to go into detail, look at the stories, because this is as authentic as it can be.
Well, I remember you telling me there are just more than 100 episodes, and I've scanned it. So what do we pick?
Exactly. Right? Yes. So the choosing of which story. That's right. Was also another issue. So let's go to the next slide. So this actually guided my choice, because in
Yes.
researching all the versions of this story, I discovered this animated film, the first animated feature film to be made in China. So in
Yes.
1941, Princess Iron Fan, and it features a segment from Journey to the West. So for me, this idea that, oh, this must be an interesting segment. So it's almost like I let people from 1941 to make that choice for me, right? Because obviously they've looked through the book and they have landed on this particular story. What's so amazing for me is that in 1941, it was like the Sino-Japanese War was on, since the invasion of Manchuria in 1937,
Yes.
right? So even
Yeah.
during wartime conditions, they managed to create this beautiful animated film.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I think that that's the thing about how art endures, because it took something like 357 artists working on the cells to create
right,
it, and it's very much like a Mickey Mouse movie. This is
right,
available on YouTube. If you look up for it, look out for it. You can Google it, and you
right,
can find snippets of it. It's fascinating. Yeah.
yeah. So let's see the next one. Another source of inspiration. Is this beautiful, beautiful
Yes.
animated film called Havoc in Heaven. And I
Yes.
really loved it because it was released, there were two parts. The two parts were released in 65. But why I really liked it was that because of its aesthetic. So they used this stylized animation style that was influenced by Beijing opera. And also the musical arrangement was based on the percussion and all that from Chinese opera. And this was based on the earlier episodes of Journey to the West, where Sun Wukong terrorizes the inhabitants of heaven. So actually, part of me was wondering whether I should adapt this story. So it was a bit of a toss-up between Princess Iron Fan and this one, actually.
Yeah.
This one got a lot of fighting, lah. So
Yes. But we managed to
there
put
was
in a lot
lot
of
of battle
fighting.
scenes. That's right.
We
Yeah,
did
yeah.
manage to put in quite a lot of fighting.
We still
And
had all the fights.
whatever we couldn't do with the fighting here, we added to Mama Whitesnake.
That's right. Yes. That was, yep.
Yes. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah.
So this one I have to say. So those were films that I discovered during my research. But just now when you asked me, what's the connection between this story and this Malay guy who grew up in Tampines and Simei? When I was growing up in primary school, I remember tuning in to Channel 8 to watch this series.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing, right? When during a certain point of time when there were just those few television channels,
Yes.
we would just scroll like 1 to channel 5 and 8 and 12, whatever. Those were the only choices we had.
3, 5, 8, 10. 3, 5, 8, 10. Then your
Right.
time got 12.
No. Oh, yes, that's right. But this whole idea that because there were less choices, somehow we expose ourselves to more things. Weirdly, we didn't sort of like selectively like, okay, I will only watch Malay films. This one's like, yo, this Malay film is boring. Let's see what's on the next channel. Oh, got this one, interesting. How come got this human pig and this human monkey? And that's why I think I feel that during that time when both Tamil and Chinese shows were both on Channel 8, right? We were sharing these spaces and all that. I think there was a interestingly more multicultural exchange. So I grew up, I really love this series, by the way. Yeah.
In the UK, they had a Japanese version which is widely screened on the BBC,
right,
which was translated into English. And my friends in the UK would talk about like monkey magic. So everybody knew about monkey magic. In the series, there was a subtitled and broadcast in English in England. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually a worldwide phenomenon.
Right. It is a world classic, I believe. Yeah.
It is a world classic.
Okay, so from all the episodes, as you can see, this is the episode 14. It's called Battling Red Boy. So if you have watched the play Monkey Goes West, you will recognize that this is one of the scenes that we used. Next one. And also I looked at episode 17, which is titled 3 Attempts in Taking the Pumbly Fan. So you can see that's the Princess Iron Fan in the TV show. Not as beautiful as Enlai, I think.
I was going to say that. Our Princess Iron Man is the most beautiful Princess Iron Man in the history of this play.
No contest. No contest at all. Yeah. So these were the 2 episodes from that series that we used. Okay, next slide. So in addition to like being exposed to the media, meaning books as well as televisions and films. I also made a field trip to one of my favorite places in Singapore, which is Haw Par Villa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember this series of your excitement
Yep.
when you sent me a whole bunch of photos at the end of the day from your field trip to Haw Par Villa. It's a fascinating place, which all of us were taken to in order to teach us the lessons that we would otherwise not learn. You either go to church or you go to Haw Par Villa.
That's right. Yeah. They had all these like moralistic dioramas and really interesting.
Yes.
Next slide.
Right. So, yes.
So
These were the slides you sent me.
Yes, you can see me actually practically monkeying around. That's a battle scene between Sun Wukong and Neta, right? So this is a scene from Havoc from in Heaven.
Yeah.
And you can see that I'm trying to participate, in that scene. Next slide.
Beautiful. Getting close to the action.
That's right. Yes. So on the left side, you will see me trying my best with my Tang Seng impersonation.
Yes,
and so this was an interesting question that I had, which is actually in the journey, they also had a white horse.
Yes,
which is
I remember
originally
this conversation.
a river dragon.
The Dragon
right?
Prince.
That's right.
The Dragon Prince, right? Yeah.
So because though he didn't have many lines, I did not eventually turn that into a character for our musical. Yeah.
There was the fearsome foursome. Yep.
Yeah. And on the right side, of course, you can see that's the Goddess of Mercy on her lotus throne.
I think that in so many ways, I think, well, in my opinion, you were like Tang Shen, journeying on this journey, going west, so to speak, when you're actually traveling east. And I just love the lessons that you taught us in this show. I mean, there were many things. Some of these lines are just so amazing, right? Like any book can be holy as long as you can learn something from it.
Right.
Listen to your heart, right? Just ideas about being that we are that the sum of all of us is much greater than its parts. So many things that you taught us. But one of the very, very special things about this version of Monkey Goes West is the idea of mother.
Yep. That's
and
right.
she's seen both in Guan Yin here and of
She's
course
also
the figure of Atang's mother who was watching over him.
Yeah.
Can you share something about that? And I think we have something in the next slides.
Yeah. So when we are creating something, obviously there's all the research and all that, right? So as I mentioned, you go through all that material, but as an artist, as a writer, of course, you also have quite personal sources of inspiration. And those were the things that find their way into the work as well.
Yes. Let's go to the next slide, please. Next slide.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned, Haw Par Villa is like one of my favorite places in Singapore. And why it's my favorite is because when I was a child, my mother would bring me there for, just going out family excursion. And as you can see on the far left, I'm sitting on an elephant. And then on my recent trip in 2014, February 2014, I'm taking another picture right there on the elephant as well. Obviously, I've grown up, and somehow or the other, the elephant's tusks have also grown. But on the right side, so you can see at the top there's my mom and me when I was a kid. And then on the bottom, that's also her. So what I want to share is that while I was writing Monkey Goes West, it was a difficult period in my life because my mom was ill. She had brain cancer, right? So I was writing this musical, and as I mentioned just now, as an artist, as a writer, all these things that happen to you, they find their way into the work, And for me, when I was writing it, I felt, okay, by that time, because brain cancer, so she was bedridden already. There were long days when she just couldn't communicate anymore. Her eyes were closed most of the time. And I knew she wouldn't be able to watch the play. But nevertheless, I wanted this to be a kind of tribute to her, and kind of love letter to my mom. So it's so odd because I would have never thought that I would write a play as tribute to my mother, and it would actually be a play that's based on this Chinese legend,
Yes.
which is like so far away from my own upbringing and my own culture.
Yeah.
So, but nevertheless, so she passed on the year after in 2015. But definitely, if you look at Atang's story and his relationship with his mom and his yearning for her to appear in his dreams and all that, is definitely based on my own life and my own experiences.
Thank you so much, because I think that really took a great generosity of spirit, Alfian, for sharing this with us and with the whole audience. And I just to quote from the play itself, there's this line which touches, I think, all of us who's ever loved the mom, or who's ever wanted approval from their mother, and Guan Yin Ma actually says, "Ma is very proud of you.
Right.
I know I've raised you well."
Right. Yeah.
That's like, I think I'm quite sure Mom is looking over you and saying, "You go, Alfian, you go."
Yeah. So
Thank
actually,
you so much.
when you mentioned that that line, when she said, when Kuan Yin Ma says, "Mom is very proud of you," was one of the things that's a direct line from my mom when she was in hospital. So we had one moment when we were just talking, and then she just reached out and touched my face, and she's in Malay, and she said, "I want you to know that I'm very proud of you." So, yeah.
Thank you, Alfian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So I want to bring in now the director of the show, Sebastian Tan, who will join me and Alfian, because Sebastian obviously is the person who I must kind of credit for saying, I want to do Monkey Goes West. He was the person. Hello, Sebastian. Hello, Sebastian. How are you, Sebastian? Welcome to the live stream.
Hello.
Can we hear you?
Hello.
Hi, Sebastian. Thanks for joining us. Yes, we hear you loud.
I'm no good, but this helps. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well.
Well done. I have.
I was sitting here and tearing. I was sitting here and crying at Alfian's story.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think
you cry every time you watch Guan Yin Ma on stage. No, that's magic. That's magic touch from your part. Yeah. I cry all the time. I've watched the show like 400 times. And every time it comes to that part, I will cry.
Yeah.
Then I'll drink some.
I think it touches a real core, right? It really touches a real core in all of us. A very universal, timeless, ageless. We are all very well. And Sebastian, you had acted in Jack, in Snow White, Hansel and Gretel, and Cinderella. And then I said to you, it's time you come on the other side. And, it's time for you to direct the Wild Rice Panto. So what was it that made you choose Monkey? Sorry, Monkey. Did you catch us, Sebastian?
All right, I have just to say that the audio is not really very good for me. But I think audio is not very good for me. But I think your question was, why did I choose Monkey Goes West, right? As to direct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I don't know you think you guys have covered just now, right? Like, till then, only the pantomimes were all based largely on the Western classics, and so I thought, well, it'll be interesting to have an Eastern one, and of course, and because it's so rich as well, and I thought, and so I went back to think, what will it be? And so Journey to the West came to mind, of course, because it's a classic that I grew up with. A lot of Singaporeans grew up with. Even my friends from England grew up with the dubbed version of it, like you all mentioned just now. Yeah, so I thought it would be interesting. And because it has like almost 1,000 adventures that the gang of four goes through. So I thought it would be interesting, but also a very, very big task for Alfian to sort of squeeze all that epic story into a 3 hours pantomime musical. Yeah, and I thought that was great. Yeah, it was a very big and challenging task. I mean, we all started from blank page.
Yes.
I mean, literally from thing we have to build is we have to build this thing that became Monkey Goes West, and involves so many people. Finding the creative team, and then after that doing the casting.
Yes.
Getting the casting right. Oh, by the way, it's Atang's birthday today. So Joshua Lim. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joshua.
Yeah.
How wonderful. Happy birthday,
Joshua.
Yeah, so...
Happy birthday, Joshua. Yeah. Yes, I mean, I think just to give the audience just to give the audience.
And I have to say,
Okay, I want to just give the audience, just remind the audience of the scale of the production, right? And so this is the opening scene. This is the opening scene of Monkey Goes West, and there are 25 people on stage, and actually you were dealing with a cast of 37 people. All right, there was an adult cast of 8. There was 24 first stage kids, and there were 14 from Marshall House. And it was a huge, and besides this, there was the entire creative team. There was also, in every single thing, we were getting used to a brand new theater, which we'd never used before. And then there were all these very, very intricate elements like the martial arts, as well as this thing called, shadow puppetry. Can I have the next slide? Well, just as a start, why do you choose shadow puppetry instead of multimedia? Yeah.
Well, because I want it to be theatrical. I mean, I want it to be more theatrical, and of course, I mean, when Alfian wrote all these transformation stories, this transformation scene.
Yes. You are lagging, Sebastian. Yeah.
Which is what Monkey does anyway.
Yes. Okay. So it's about the magic of transformation. Sebastian, Okay. We are not here. We're not getting you, Sebastian. Okay. So Sebastian is going to. We're going to try and move, and Sebastian's going to try and join us shortly.
Sure.
But in the meantime, I'm going to invite our composer,
Yay!
the multi-talented Elaine Chan.
Yeah.
Elaine, please come in and join us. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi.
How are you keeping? Thank you for coming.
Oh,
How
my pleasure. Yeah, it's a lovely journey. It's a lovely journey. Yeah.
You are a panto veteran.
I love the panto. Oh, this is something great to celebrate every year. Just to close it with a panto. It's a tradition for me. I love it. Thank you for the kind invitation. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for your genius. I think that listening to the no, seriously, listening. Folks, just to let you know, the music is available for free on Spotify.
Yeah.
So it's now all the music is available on Spotify. So if you're not watching the songs, you can share the songs with your children on Spotify or tune into the video. But the songs were so varied, Elaine. I mean, Monkey was the 9th one. Was the 7th original panto you wrote, and this was followed by Mama Whitesnake and Singapore Carol.
Yes.
And there are some things that are so special and very different about it because it sounded very, very, Chinese.
Yes. I think also because we always draw inspiration first from the story. So thank you first to Seb as to Alfian. It's from there that you get inspired. And I think the treatment of the music was fairly cinematic. To be fair, there's so many things about the music that we could write because the stories itself lend variety, and then we've got talented cast. I mean, you have someone like Kimberly who can dance flamenco and she can sing. So we have never written a song about flamenco, but because it's her, so we did write one.
Let's bring up the slide. Let's remind the audience here of this very, very, which I thought was a stroke of genius on both Alfian's part as well as Elaine's, because there was a girl on fire and then boy on fire.
Yeah, it helped, of course. It's the same actor, all right, because Kimberly, of course, played the girl in Girl on Fire, and then she was the boy in Boy on Fire. But it was nice because in musical tradition, we don't often have a chance to repeat. But when we have a chance to repeat or reprise, it's nice because then the audience can see what similarities and draw their own conclusions. So it's a very clever theatrical device, and it's always wonderful when you have that. I think in this show, we also had another one, which is a very touching scene. 世上只有妈妈好 is actually a classic, but we wrote, because the lyrics, the way it led into it, and then of course for Alfian to close the scene at the back so beautifully, we brought the song back in. So it's a nice closure and a nice reminder, even like to start the whole show with a beautiful and grand Monkey Goes West, and then at the end of it, for the audience to leave humming for the same song. So the repeats, I think, have been very helpful to the audience, remind them of what's been happening. Yeah.
Yes. Well, the reprise of 世界只有妈妈好 was also used as the farewell song.
Yes. Yeah, called
right?
So yes.
As a reprise, it came back in many ways. And it's very, very beautiful and also interesting that it's a song that is so universal that really, again, is a tribute to mothers.
Yeah. I think, of course, Seb had a good hand in it because, I mean, the great thing about creative spirits are that, you know, when we get together, there are a lot of ideas that's being shared. So it was nice that we could bounce off wonderful ideas as such. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question here actually for the three of you. What was the collaboration like? What was it like? So the play, you know, it started with, of course, the words and the lyrics, but then, you know, that is kind of a moving, evolving piece as the music came in and then the director came in. So what were the conversations like? What were some of the conversations you had? What was it like?
So for me, I've been working with... Who first?
Yeah.
Sebastian first. Sebastian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sebastian.
Who first? Mia.
Sa'at, you first. Yeah.
Oh my God, the audio is so bad. Okay, I just say I just thought, I don't know whether you can hear me, okay? But I just thought
Can.
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Basically, I mean, for Alfian and Elaine, I mean, remember we just talk, right? I mean, I just tell you what inspires me, and you know, for Elaine, I was telling you how, you know, what kind of music I like and what I was, you know, imagining that the show will sound like. And I did send you some references.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she went and then came back with a whole bunch of songs. And then after that, remember Alfian and Ivan, we sat down, we listened to the songs, and then we give our opinions, and then we tweet, and then we were casting at the same time, and then we got you know, we also have to look at the actors, and then we have to also, you know, see how the song can cater to them. And for Alfian, I mean, basically, I was, you know, same thing. I was just talking to him and then saying what inspires me. Why did I want to do Journey to the West, and what is it about Journey to the West that I like, and what are the stories and adventures that I love. And so I just said, and then from there, Alfian just went and did his magic. So it was very collaborative, and of course, Ivan, you were there. You were there. We had so many meetings. Oh my God.
Yes, really happy to be. I mean, just basically, yes, Alfian.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Sebastian has said a lot of it, not a lot, but most of it. I'm just gonna say that I think Elaine and I have had this working relationship ever since we worked on Snow White, and it's the smoothest relationship.
Your lyrics are so beautiful, so nice to write to. It's so easy, it's so beautiful.
There's
Thank
no
you.
creative conflict or
Yeah.
anything. It's the easiest thing. For me, I think personally, Elaine is one of the best collaborators I've ever had. So all I need to do is I write the
That's
song,
beautiful.
and then it's usually. So I learned a little bit about songwriting.
Remember
Yep.
the first.
Yes.
The first, what was it? Continue.
The first had, and then everybody was there, and everybody was so excited about and everybody was giving off ideas and so excited. And it goes to show that Journey to the West is very inspiring, right?
Yes.
It's just very inspiring.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
So, and I also want to mention that apart from that, we also had a big movement and dance component. And dance was choreographed first by Philomore Tariol, and then Andy Benjamin Chai took over. And as far as movement and martial arts, and we had amazing company from Martial House, but the leader and the dance captain and the wushu captain or the choreographer was Gordon Choi.
He's a veteran. Yay!
Yeah, and that was bringing something true, because he had himself trained in the martial arts. Bring something true to it. So I have a question here from Iwayan Kodanska. What is the casting process like? What was the casting process like? Because the three of us, including Philoma and all that, sat in the room to cast for this situation. So what were some of the ideas, or how do you actually go about casting? Sep? You hear us?
Repeat the question again. Sorry.
What was casting like?
Again.
Okay. Sep, what was casting like? Or read the live chat. Yeah. What was the casting like?
Oh, what was casting like?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the casting? Well,
the process. Yeah.
So, of course, for the adult cast, I was trying to see how I can, make it interesting, right?
Right.
Yeah. Don't cast against type. Like, we know Piggy is always played by a guy. Now I'm thinking, why not we just, let a female in this case play the role, and then of course Kuan Yin,
yes.
Why not let
We're finding it difficult to hear you. I think I'm just gonna chat. Yeah. Siti Khalija was Kang Kuan Yin Ma, as well as Sandy. Right. Okay, Sebastian is having a problem, but I'm going to move on now to bring on someone who's joining us from across the sea. Well, up in Thailand, in Bangkok specifically. Will everyone please join us and welcome Saksit, one half of the Tube Gallery. Sawadee krap.
Sawadee krap. Can you hear me well?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect.
We can.
How are you guys?
Okay.
We are good as good can be. We are treading water here in Wild Rice and in Singapore, waiting for the next health advisory, which will no doubt be for us. How are you in Bangkok?
Okay, Bangkok is slowly getting back to normality, but I think it's going to be the new normal from now. The restaurants start to open. And then in the next few days, the big mall will be opening. But life is not exactly yet going back to what it was before. But hopefully soon we will be able to do things that we did before and we enjoy doing, like going to the play.
Going to the theater, yes. We all long for that to happen. I wanted to just thank you, Saksit, and you are one half of the amazing team. Your partner in crime is Pisit Jong, who can't join us tonight. But two of you have this amazing couture fashion store, an entire brand called Tube Gallery. And we are so privileged here in Singapore to have you design for us for Wild Rice, for Toy Factory, and even for the National Day Parade. Thank you, Khop Kun Mak Mak. Thank you so much.
Khop Kun Kap. Yeah. Thank you for, actually, I have to say thank you for Singapore, for you, Ivan, for Khop Bun Tek, for British Cheer, and all my good friends in the business and in the theater circle who've been supporting me all this year. And to be honest, we're having such a lot of good times working with you guys, and that is not just just saying, but it's the honesty.
Yes. I wanted to bring on some of the slides in terms of what you shared with us in terms of your impulse in responding to Alfian's script. This was what you sent us. Let's bring up these slides. Okay. In terms of the PowerPoint.
I have to try to remember
yes,
as well, because it's quite some years ago, and we are getting
2013. Let's go to the next slide. You said to me, Haw Par Villa, which you yourself visited, was a big inspiration to you.
Yes, I think this has come from the script as well as the brief from Sebastian, and probably from you as well, Ivan, about Haw Par Villa, and it's shown on the script of Alfian, right? That hello.
Yes.
And showing the script that is a part of the story. So when I go into see Haw Par Villa again, basically by searching the internet and slowly getting into detail by details of all these stages, we got a wonderful time taking all the small little details from all the stages into the design. Especially you can see directly what we took from this Haw Par Villa idea is the colors. We use a lot of strong colors, but it's not just strong color, it's also, you can say it's a bit of retro colors. So the combination of color is not super bright, but there is some sort of break color, to make it more interesting.
Yes.
And
so we'll have the next slide is your lookbook, which you shared with us. Yes,
and then we go into looking for inspiration for the new take of the fashion as well, into the Chinese. What can we do with the Chinese inspiration in the new concept? So we're not just stuck in what was done before, but we have to put something new as well.
Well, I think that you can actually see Kuan Yin Ma's dress there in the center, that white dress. And what I actually can appreciate was that the actual Pantone, the range of colors used was not garish, but actually, like you say, quite very much like retro. So it's quite muted and very elegant. Actually, let's have the next slide. Here's these are the sketches you sent us with Monkey and Atang. With and continue.
So so when we look at this story, Monkey Go West, which has come from Journey to the West, it is such a well-known story. Even in Thailand, we grew up with the same story as well. So we know it's a Sai Ew, right? And for these all folks, all the gang, everybody.
The gang. Let's bring up the slide of the gang.
Yeah, everybody have the certain certain memory about these all characters and how they should dress like. So what trying to do is we're trying to make them, refreshing them, give them the new look, but then still when they are on stage, you can tell exactly who is who. It's not like we are not trying to alienate the audience to the original authentic look of them. So, but somehow we managed to putting in the new look that is still you can have the old take as well, to make it more, as well as it's interesting. You still can memory who is who in the show.
So let's have the next slide. These costumes, I wanted to bring that up. I mean, this was particularly, I think we all just went wow. I mean, we just couldn't contain ourselves with excitement when we saw this work, which was actually, it looks like leather, but it's woven foam. And what was particularly exciting for me, I mean, and for all of us in the company, and for Alfian and Sebastian and all the collaborators, was the idea of monkey sitting on the monkey's shoulder.
Yes,
you know,
because we apart from whole Villa we took as inspiration, we still have to do some more research into different characters, and for Monkey King, it's always have to be about fighting, and he has to have that authority, like he is the leader of the gang and leader of the whole monkey world. So we would like to give him some armors that making him look like what you say is a leader of the whole army. So and when we do the research, we're looking into the armors that belong to the Japanese, the Chinese, and also the Western cultures, and we probably took it all together and mix it up, giving our imagination and our own design to it. The monkey on the shoulder, I think, if I'm not wrong, I used to probably saw many times. You see the dragon on the shoulder, or probably some kind of the more scary animal. But because he's a monkey king, also what else he have? Definitely he needs to have monkeys on his shoulder. So and then it came out and it looked quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it very much was for Alfian. I think in his thing, it was very much about taming the monkey in you, right? Putting aside your ego.
Yeah, Saksi, can I ask? Are you sure it's not inspired by the monkey shoulder whiskey, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that when we designed that the monkey shoulder whiskey already launched. Probably they inspired from us.
I see, you're right. Yes. Yes.
Probably they came to see the show and need some drink afterwards.
We actually have Hoppa Villa online with us. Hello, Hoppa Villa. Hoppa Villa says to us, we just wanted to drop by and say we love hearing about this, showing your love and support in Wild Rice. Thank you, Hoppa Villa, for joining us. It's a tremendous inspiration to all of us through all these years. Next, we're going to bring on the baddies. Can we have the next slide, please? These two evil King Bull, which was originally played by Lim K-Siu, and then in this production played by Darius Tan, and Princess Ivan Fan, who is played by the inimitable Chua Eun Lai. Next slide, please. And I think you can actually notice how the beautiful thing about Saksit and Pisit is they send you a sketch, and then the next thing you know, you see the costumes actually appearing as a direct translation. No surprises, right?
Yep, and yes, that we are trying to make the sketch as close to the costume that we're going to produce as much as possible, because that is good for the producer and also good for the director, that they know what they get. And I think that people, you have been saying that, and we didn't realize that until you mentioned. And yes, thank you. I think that is a good notice, and we will try to keep that way.
So we have everybody back with us in the studio at this moment.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
So how are we doing for questions? Can we, do you think, how do we feel about the reception? This is the question from Elaine Lim, right? And I think everyone can take it. Do you think that, because everyone was involved in the localization of this play, do we think that the localization of the play was necessary to entice the Singaporean audience? Mm-hmm. Would a play work if it was not localized?
Mm-hmm. This is mine, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is yours.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's been a Wild Rice tradition to localize all our pantomimes. So whether it's a Western fairy tale, or whether, I suppose in this instance, is Journey to the West, we've always wanted it to be something that we could recognizably call our own. Yeah, so I think that's always been, I suppose, the Wild Rice tradition. That's and I don't think it's necessarily about, we have to make it Singaporean because we're trying to entice the Singaporean audience, because the audience that comes, we also have quite a lot of non-Singaporeans who come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I don't think it's so much that kind of a what does the market want kind of thing, but
Yes.
more a sense of like how can we sort of claim this as our own? How can we make it our own? How can we assert a kind of cultural ownership over these stories? Yeah.
Yes. We have a question here from Lee Sim Eng, who would like to hear more about what it was about the casting of so many child actors and actresses on stage. And I would add to that, what was working with them like?
Okay.
How was it? What was it like? I mean, to make costumes for them, to write for them, to coach them as you did together with Irene Jensen in terms of the vocals, but to work with young people.
Okay. So I love working with kids because I think the first stage kids are so special. Unlike some other corporate schools out there, which they've got a developed program. These are kids that we've auditioned and they've got the talent, but may not have the necessary. They're not as polished. But the great thing is when they come together year after year, you see them growing. And it's just a wonderfully heartwarming feeling. And I know amongst some of our loyal supporters are, actors who've gone on and grew up through the whole Wild Rice production. So I've always enjoyed working with them because they're very talented and they're very hardworking. And it's great because they learn not to just, it's just a kid's production. It's not. It's actually kids growing up and working professionally alongside theatre greats. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity. So I love working with them.
Yeah. They're very hyper though.
Okay lah. You need that kind of energy.
I have to say, yes.
Yeah. You need that.
They're just bouncing off the walls. So it's not a complaint, but it's just the energy that they have, right? So this is, I think, what makes them, suitable for the stage. They have all this energy that they need to.
Yes. We have a rule backstage to say no sugar backstage, and we have always a team of chaperones. We have a team of chaperones.
Yes.
I think Saksit and Pisit always fly in from Bangkok, and there's this wonderful moments, usually about 2 weeks or a week before, 10 days before we open, where you are there to fit. And the children, I think, had like 5 or 6 costume changes in this show. What is it like to and 2 casts? Was it like fitting and working with young people, with children?
To start with, we were, especially me, I'm always fear of working with children. It's always been like my nightmare. I know that I have to work with children. Having said that, to work with all these kids, I don't know if this is like how the Singapore kids in general would be like, or are they well selected from you guys, or they well trained? But they're very disciplined. They know what they're doing. They are very nice, very, and they definitely know the time to play and the time to be in the character and the time that they have to work, which is amazing. So it makes all this fear become a bit, not a big deal for me at all. But the problem we always have in the department of costume is we always have 2 casts of kids, and both casts of kids always have different size. Like very much different. I would have like people in my team just like look at the size of the cast and like. But having said that, we have a wonderful team from Teresa, the wardrobe mistress. I have to give her the full credit on dealing with all this, which is I couldn't do it by myself, or Pisit and I couldn't do it by ourselves. And all the team from the wardrobe, like, thank you. Every time
thank you
guys, we are happy.
Yes.
If I can share something, Alfian, let you next. But I think just to say that the first stage kids are treated very much like adults.
Yes.
I think they're given a sense of responsibility.
Yes.
And they are taught very early to look out for each other and to care for each other. You find some of them who are natural leaders. And I think that if you treat children like adults and you say, okay, if you don't behave like an adult, then maybe you can't join the show.
Yes.
And that's a very adult thing that they have to take on,
Yes.
And it's amazing. They end up behaving like angels. Alfian, you had something for us, Alfian?
It's okay. I think they have more audience questions. You wanna pull out?
Okay, I'll take this one.
I can't hear Alfian.
Okay. I'll answer this. Hi, Owen. Thank you for your question.
Yes.
How do you find my inspiration? So the first thing, the script inspires a lot of things. From there, and it was helpful that I was in the casting
I'm
process.
trying to just tune in here to listen to the broadcast. I seem to be off.
We can hear you, Ivan. We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
I am not on, am I? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ivan.
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you hear yourself?
Okay, he's not.
Whoops. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Owen.
Great name.
I'll just continue.
Sure.
I think it helped that I was in the casting process, that I knew who the actors were. I knew that Sugi is perfect for the monkey role, and I knew that he's strong.
I can't. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
There is.
Read the private chat. I've been.
Can you bring your computer here?
Okay. All right.
Now we know there is somebody more than himself in that room.
Yeah. He's got support in that room. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Owen. I'm sorry. So yes, I think the script is important. The story is important because that gives you the inspiration for what to write for, be it a ballad or be it a fast number. And the great thing about Alvin's script is there's got so many colors and variety. And so that lends a lot of opportunities for solos, for duets, and for quartets. So it's wonderful when you have a good base as that. For example, in the first show, we had Casio, who's very strong in writing rock and roll, in singing rock and roll music. So his tune. I'm hearing myself in the background.
Ivan,
Okay, I'm just going to continue. Okay, so I'm a Change Man was written primarily for you because he was a deep baritone, but it came with that. So I think I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
I have to say that the music and the script are just beautiful, and I'm not just saying because I work in the production. As the audience, I was sitting there watching the play, enjoying what Sebastian has come on into the direction, and the music and the storyline, all the punchline is really work, and that is this production was the first time I worked with you guys, and it's the first time I worked for the Panto, and I really, after that, it's hooked me up. I really want to do it all the time.
Yay! Infectious.
If I can pull out a question right now, so this is for both like Sebastian and myself. So the question from this Lin Fangche is, what was the most challenging part of directing or scripting a musical with so many characters and actors? Yeah, so maybe I can start first, Sebastian. Sebastian, can you hear me? Are you okay? Sebastian is freezing, so I will just do this myself. This is like, monkey is like havoc in heaven, right?
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask. You cannot hear. He's wearing the headgear. You cannot hear.
Havoc on our streaming channel. Okay, so
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you, Ivan. Yeah. So we were gonna answer a question just now, which is like, what are the challenges of writing a script where it's got so many characters? And I think for me, it's always about being mindful about transitions, because we're working with quite a lean cast. So for those who've actually watched the play, you will realize that some of you probably don't realize until halfway through the play that the characters of Sandy and Kuan Yin Ma are played by the same wonderful actor who is Siti Khalijah, right? So as I'm writing this, I'm always thinking like, okay, in the next scene, there's going to be Sandy, and then the next scene, there's going to be Kuan Yin Ma. Is she going to have enough time for a quick change? right? So Succeed, could you tell us the kinds of troubles that I probably created for you because of these quick changes?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think again I have to give the credit to the wardrobe team.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the problem about costume changing always come at the first time when you do the costume run,
Yeah.
and then you just have to let these all actors and actresses get used to that costume, get used to into their routine. The first time they always come up with 100 of the problem. They just look at us and just like, what did you decide? Cannot change. I don't have enough time. It's like, but you just have to give time to them. You just have to push them a bit. Try on. You do it first, up until the point that I can see that you cannot work on it at the time that you have. We will help you, but please, do try to make
put
it
in some
happen.
effort, right?
Most of them really do, and probably, for the second run they don't have much problem, and for the third run they're just fine.
So I have a follow-up question. Does this mean that the costumes that you make, to make it easy, maybe you have Velcros instead of buttons, for example?
Of course, we need to do that. It's like to give some. It's like a theater costume. It's different from fashion clothing. So if you come to look closer, it's probably not as nice as 5 meters away. We're trying to make that different with your new new
Get
theater.
the whole illusion
Because
one.
everybody is
True.
30 cm away.
Right.
So but then you most of the time you will need to use Velcro. Most of the time, sometimes they are having 3 costumes underneath them for them to be able to change the clothes in time.
Right.
And
I wanted to just chime in and say, actually, Pisit, who's the other half of the Tube Gallery team, was training and was a professional ballet dancer. And what he would do and he himself as a performer would actually demonstrate the costume to the cast.
I see,
say,
right? Wow.
I can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Right.
Then you don't really argue with the costume designer because the costume designer demonstrates how it's done.
Right. Yeah.
That's always our trick, because sometimes we design something and we know that it would be hard to perform on it. So I would say to you, Chris, right? You put it on, rehearse now, and tomorrow we show them. They will not say yes. They will not say no. He can do it.
Costume designer's trick. Yeah. I must say though that, for those who've never been backstage to see how these things are done, it's a miracle, right? Because some of these quick changes are really fast. It reminds me of like when you have an F1 race and then you have a pit stop where you have to change the tires and all that, right? It's there. So you have these people who are known as dressers. And so basically the actor comes in and then sort of like and these people, all these hands just flying around and transform. Yeah.
So I think that at this point I wanted to give all the casts are online, and I wanted to thank the cast for joining us online. We've kind of run out our time, but I wanted to also thank the entire backstage crew. There are so many people working backstage. There's the crew, there's the lighting team, there's the puppetry team, there are radio mics team, there's lighting, there's sound, there's set. And actually working on that every night besides the 35 performers are as many people, 35 people working backstage. So I think I think just to round up, and Sebastian has actually told us to send you all our, because he is he's having problems embracing the digital divide. But I just wanted to say to all of you watching us and joining us, thank you very much for tuning in. I want to say thank you to Alfian, to Succeed, to Elaine and Sebastian, and to all of you ladies and gentlemen. If you ask us, I think I can speak on behalf of all of us to say, very often many people ask us how we are. And I think that while we are keeping a brave front, actually artists are actually treading water, trying to keep our heads above water, trying to look for the new horizon. And because the theater is such a collaborative art form, we are missing working together, and we are missing you, the audience. So we look forward to the next time we can join you live. But in the meantime, I think we are just sharing what we can. And I think Alfian is sharing, Elaine is sharing, Success is sharing, all of us on behalf of Wild Rice. Hope you keep well, keep healthy, keep safe, and stay well at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye, bye bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.